Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
Always. What are we looking at today?
Today, it's global economics. Got a whole stack of reports and articles.
Right.
We'll be breaking down 4 big concepts: balance of payments, economic growth, the economy in general, and exports.
Classic Econ 101 stuff, but
Right.
essential for understanding, well, pretty much everything happening in the world, right?
Exactly. We're going to connect the dots between these ideas, so by the end, you'll have a much clearer view of the whole global financial picture.
Sounds like a plan. So where do we start?
Well, got to start with the basics, right? Before we even talk about growth or trade, we need to define what exactly is an economy. We use the word all the time, but what does it actually mean on a practical level?
Right. Good point. At its core, an economy is just a system, a way of deciding what a country produces, how they produce it, and who gets to benefit from all that.
So it's like a giant recipe.
Yeah, kind of. A really complex recipe for everything a country makes and does. And just like recipes, economies can be super diverse.
So some economies are more like a simple loaf of bread, and others are like a fancy multi-tiered wedding cake.
Perfect analogy. Think of the US, for example. That's a mixed economy, a blend of different approaches. You've got companies like Apple, privately owned, creating cutting-edge tech like iPhones. And then you've also got public services like education, healthcare, provided by the government. This mix of private and public sectors, that's what makes it a fixed economy. And both are essential.
Right. Makes total sense. So we've got our ingredients, our economic recipe. Now, how about growth? Why should we care if an economy is growing or not?
Well, economic growth basically means a country is producing more and more value over time. More goods, more services, more opportunities for its people. Like imagine a pie that just keeps getting bigger.
So everyone gets a bigger slice.
Exactly. And that translates into a better quality of life for, well, potentially for a lot of people. A good example of this is India. They've been experiencing some incredible economic growth, particularly in technology and manufacturing.
Yeah, you hear about that all the time.
And it's real. Companies like Infosys, Wipro, these are global giants born and bred in India, and they're creating tons of jobs.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, there's a good chance the software I'm using right now was developed in India.
Exactly. That's economic growth in action. More jobs, higher incomes. It has a real impact on people's lives.
So we've got economies humming along, ideally growing, producing all this stuff, which leads us to exports, how countries share their goods and services with the world. Basic idea, but why are exports so important in the big picture?
Well, it's about reaching new customers, opening up new markets. You take a fantastic product, introduce it to a whole new audience. It's a win-win.
Okay, I'm following you.
Good example. Tesla exporting electric cars to Europe. That's strategic.
How so?
Well, for Tesla, it means expanding their market, selling more cars. And for European countries, it means their citizens get access to this cutting-edge EV tech.
So everybody wins. It's like a global exchange of innovation and resources, right?
Right.
Okay, so far we've covered economies producing goods and services, economic growth helping them expand, and then exports connecting all these countries. But how do we keep track of all these transactions?
That's where the balance of payments comes in.
Yeah, the first item on our list.
Right. It might sound intimidating, but basically it's a country's financial report card. It tracks all the money coming in and going at exports, imports, investments, everything.
So it's kind of like a giant spreadsheet.
Exactly. Helps us understand where the money is flowing and what it's being used for.
Got it. So let me see if I've got this straight. The economy is the overall system, and economic growth is kind of a measure of how healthy it is. And then we've got exports, a key way that countries interact within this system.
You got it.
And the balance of payments is like a snapshot of all those interactions.
Exactly. And once you understand these individual components, you start to see the big picture, this interconnected web of the global economy.
It's like having a cheat sheet for the financial news.
Exactly.
All right, before we wrap up, here's a question for everyone listening. Imagine you're in charge of boosting your country's economy. What would you focus on?
Ooh, good one.
Would you push for more exports, try to attract foreign investment, or maybe focus on developing a particular industry? Think about it.
Yeah.
What are your country's unique strengths? What challenges does it face?
There's no one right answer. It all depends on the specific context.
Exactly. So much to consider. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into global economics. We'll see you next time.
See ya.